Viewer discretion is advised. The following content may be disturbing to some viewers. Please proceed with caution.
No.
You want to play little girl? Guess what? I'll get down the dirt with you.
And that's my whole thing. You know,
And
I
I'll tell
don't
you
care.
what, and I'll tell you something else. She lied about having that kid's autopsy pictures. And I know that for a fact because when my roommate's son drowned in my pond, I had to know because I knew that kid was absolutely terrified of that pond. So I couldn't understand how he ended up drowning.
Yeah.
So I went to the police station. I asked them for the police report and the coroner's report.
Mhm.
And that's when we all found out that all of us were under investigation for his death
Yeah.
because he didn't have any water in his lungs. But they did determine that because originally it was undetermined how he had drowned because he had no water in his lungs. And so we were all suspects and they were investigating all of us individually. But when they gave me the police record and the coroner's, the pictures of him laying in the black bag were in there. And then there were the pictures from the actual coroner's office of him laid out on the table. And it did have the little picture, you know, where it showed his front and his back and, you know, and they determined through the pictures and everything, because they came back and they wanted a tooth from each one of our dogs. And so we let them pull a tooth from the two dogs that we had. And they found out that the dog had actually shoved him in the water. And when the dog shoved him, it knocked all the air out of his lungs. And he had a little frisbee in his hand. So when they pulled him out of the water, he was still clinging to the frisbee. And there was even pictures of him laying in the body bag and he had the frisbee in his hand.
Wow.
So then all of us were off the hook. But I mean, it kind of freaked me out that they were investigating all of us and none of us knew that we were.
Well,
family's
family's always the very first people they investigate. Believe me.
Well, me and Nancy were the only two that were home at the time when it happened. And so they started with us and then it extended out to my family because my brother had been living with us, but he moved out a week before. And he said he moved out, he said, because Jason wouldn't listen. And he says, he's going to drown in that damn pond and I'm not going to be anywhere around when it happens. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He's absolutely terrified of that thing. We got canoes and everything else. We keep trying to get him to go out in the pond and the kid loses his shit. I mean, he would climb up your body. He was that afraid of the water. So when they found him in the water, we were like, what the fuck? You know, how did he end up in the water? But, you know, I mean, the mortician couldn't even cover the dog scratches that were on his cheeks where the dog was digging, trying to get the frisbee away from him.
Yeah.
And because he had been in the water all night, the fish had eaten out his eyeballs.
Oh.
You know,
Ugh.